I didn't realize it at the time. That's when the primal mindset was born. That's when the primal mindset was born. That's when the primal mindset was born.
And this is the Primal Mindset Podcast coming to you from the studios on Long Island, New York, available on Spotify, YouTube, and of course, NGBN.TV, men's network focusing on mental health for the midlife man. I am your host, Chris Fontana, founder of Go Primal Lifestyle and Fitness, creator of the Primal Mindset Partnership. It's an 8-week course where I will work with you one-on-one so you can rise up, reset, and be the best for the people that need you most. Just head to goprimalusa.com. If you use code RISEUP, you get 15% off the whole website, all the apparel, the mindset coaching, everything. So please check that out. All right, let's get to today's episode. I have an awesome guest, Taylor Morgan, who is the founder of the Captain's Lifestyle, creator of the Captain's Code, just an overall badass dude, a real man's man. So here we go.
What's up, Chris?
Yeah, man, glad you would come on. And yeah, don't worry about the ruckus. You know, we talked a little bit off air. You got the ruckus, the little guy up there running around. So you know, it's all good, man. I got mine upstairs as well. So.
Yeah, just to clarify for anybody listening, not my little guy.
Oh, okay.
Not my little guy. Yeah.
No problem. Well, normally I know you were Marine, so normally I mean I have nothing but the utmost respect for all our armed forces. I have, you know, family and friends and you know, military and first responders and police as well. So I always want to say thank you for your service. I just know you didn't have the greatest time in the Marines, so I just wasn't sure, but I just want to say thank you anyway.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that everything was horrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I expected. I'm absolutely super grateful that that's what I chose to do, right? I learned so much from it.
Right.
You know, there's nothing that I could do to control the fact that almost everybody who goes into the Marine Corps, from my experience, is not trained in tenets of true masculinity, for example, and actual leadership. From my experience, it was way more of a dictatorship, more tyrannical. Do what I say just because I have this rank on my collar that allows me to do that, right? Regardless of leadership ability.
Right. And you were
well, I will add something to that. Of course, like the higher you rank up, the more leadership capabilities you're technically supposed to have.
Right.
But really, again, and this is just from my personal experience, it seemed to me a lot of the guys who stayed in the Marine Corps, who ranked up to leadership positions, were a lot of times, not always, a lot of times they were the guys who maybe got picked on in high school.
Right. Yeah.
And now roles are reversed.
Yeah.
Right. So now they get to express their power. And when I'm referring to leadership, I don't necessarily mean higher leadership. I'm more referring to what were supposed to be quote unquote peers, the guys who had been on one deployment and then got back, and then we were the new guys. Right. They were the ones who felt like hot shit and who got to push the new guys around.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, they're supposed to, you know, to help you, whatchamacallit, you know, with the experience and everything. So, and I think you see that. I mean, that's probably more. It's probably a little bit more, you know, in the military world, but I think you see that everywhere nowadays, even in the corporate world, the offices where people who might have gotten picked on in high school and now have a higher, you know, position, they tend to, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I couldn't imagine in the military it's probably like heightened with that type of mentality.
Yeah, and a lot of it too was, again, with my quote unquote peers, they were like, "Hey, we got picked on and we got hazed, so we want to do it to you." Now, right? So it was a lot of times there was no rhyme or reason behind it, simply for the fact that, hey, you're the new guys. This is what we went through. We're now going to do it to you.
Right. Yeah.
So that was unfortunate, and that was absolutely not what I expected in the Marine Corps. I thought the Marine Corps was a brotherhood. From my experience, that was not the case with the guys who had been on a deployment, the guys who were, just above us really, but
Right.
technically in terms of rank, we're peers, right? So I formed a stronger brotherhood with the new guys, right? With my direct peers. But really they're yeah, I would have fucking died for everybody in there.
Yeah.
But it was out of I would listen to them reluctantly, like just because I had to. Like there was no form of like real camaraderie or
Yeah.
brotherhood at all, which was disappointing.
Yeah. What how old were you when you went to the Marines? Was it right out of high
I
school or was it?
I yeah, I turned 19 on Black Friday in boot camp, which Black Friday in boot camp is the day you meet your drill instructors. So I, of course, did not let anybody know that it was my birthday.
Yeah, yeah. And where actually did you grow up?
Northern California is where I
Okay.
grew up, a little
Is that
town called Lodi.
is that where, oh yeah. Is that where you are now? You still there?
No, I'm all over the place.
Because
Yeah.
I know every video I see, man, I see snow on the ground. So I'm like, man, this guy has got to be in Alaska somewhere or some shit.
Yeah, lately the videos have had snow in them because for the past 2 weeks I've been in Minnesota and there's snow
Okay.
here now. But the whole like all of 2022, I was all over the place.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
And I know you were talking about the Marines and like the camaraderie and everything and not really having that. Is that kind of what made you like start the, which we'll get into, the captain's lifestyle and all that, having that sense of camaraderie with men? Because I think it's really important. I mean, it's pretty similar to what I do with my, my GP Nation and all that. It's so is that kind of what like brought you in towards that you wanted to be like, I got to do something, man. This shit isn't working here.
No, that wasn't it at all. After the Marine Corps, I became a CrossFit coach. Well, actually, when I was in the Marine Corps, I became a CrossFit coach, and I continued afterwards. And I ended up being recruited to be the head coach of the biggest CrossFit gym in Saudi Arabia. So I had in total coached for about 5 years. And during that time, I was on my own personal journey of optimizing my health, happiness, and productivity in every way possible, right? Learning everything that I possibly could to optimize my mental and physical performance. So I would have these athletes coming up to me saying, "Hey, coach, I've been coming into the gym for a year now. Why am I not seeing improvement?" And I would say, "Okay, I see you've been consistent for the time that I've been here. So that's not the problem. What is it that you're doing outside of the gym? How is your sleep? How are your stress levels? What is your diet like?" Their answers would all be similar. Like, I'm lucky if I sleep 6, maybe 7 hours. My stress is high because of my relationship or the job that I'm working that I don't like, or, my diet is pretty good. And anybody who says their diet is pretty good is pretty full of crap.
Yeah.
So I told him, I was like, "Hey, you cannot come into the gym and expect this 1 hour to offset the other 23 hours of a bad lifestyle. Like, that's just not how it works." And they just wanted me to tell them how to do pull-ups faster, right? And it's like, I had enough of that. I was not making the impact that I wanted to have as a CrossFit coach. So I quit and started building my own brand, a lifestyle brand, right? The Captain's Lifestyle, because I understood that it's not just about fitness. It's not just about nutrition. Even if you nail nutrition and fitness, you're still missing 6 other pillars of health. That's my logo. As you can see here, the wheel of lifestyle optimization. Got 8 pillars on there. So even if you max out nutrition and exercise, you're still missing the vast majority of things that lead to a healthy and fulfilling life.
Right. Yeah. Just kind of go over? I know. I mean, I was reading up about it, but what are the pillars that you like focus on?
Yeah. So it starts off with mindset. So this is a big category. I primarily focus on language. We could go down a deep rabbit hole with language, but eliminating victim mentality language. So the definition of the victim mentality: The victim mentality is an acquired personality trait in which a person tends to regard themselves as the victim of the negative actions of others, even in the absence of clear evidence. The victim mentality depends on a habitual thought process and attributions. So if we break that down a little bit, the victim mentality is an acquired personality trait, meaning you can unacquire it, right? It also depends on habitual thought processes and tendencies. So it's now become a habit based on how you think and how you act. So if we change how you think, the language that you use, that then changes how you act. And that is how we start to eliminate the victim mentality. How this shows up in the real world is you giving your power up to external circumstances or to other people. Like, I can't do this because of this person,
Right.
Or I can't do this because of this event that happened halfway across the world, right? Giving up your power instead of taking extreme ownership, realizing everything in your life is in your control. So there's a bunch of ways that we do that with language, which I'm happy to get into. The next pillar is vision. So this is an important one as well. This is your MVVP, your mission, vision, values, and purpose. This is where every single one of my clients is that the first month of coaching, which combines the mindset module, the vision module, and the next one that I'm going to talk about, is the most beneficial part of the program. Because once you determine who it is that you want to become, the legacy you want to leave, the like who you are, your values, your purpose in life, once you determine that, everything else becomes easier. This is one of the main reasons people struggle to achieve their goals, is because they haven't defined their why.
Right.
So that's the MVVP process. Next up, we've got brain health. So balancing out neurotransmitter deficiencies, eliminating things like brain fog and fatigue, minimizing stress, things like that. Next up, we've got sleep. So really optimizing sleep quality, especially. It's not just about the quantity. Quality is much more important. Of course, there's a correlation there. Then we get into relationships and communication. So teaching guys how to communicate effectively as a leader in their family, somebody that their kids can look up to, a leader in business if they have employees, for example, and how to cultivate more meaningful relationships. Because really that is a huge, actually, are you familiar with the Harvard happiness study? So Harvard University, I believe it's still ongoing. The last time I checked, I think it was going on for like 75 plus years. They studied two groups of men in the Boston area. One group of, I don't think they categorized it into two groups, actually. They took like everybody. They took like the most affluent to the people who had nothing in the Boston area. There was even, I think, a president that was a part of the group. And what they found, and they were looking for what leads to the most fulfilling life. Like, what is the common theme? What they found was it had nothing to do with diet. It had nothing to do with whether or not they smoked. The number one biggest factor that contributed to highest quality of life was the quality of relationships that these men had. Not quantity. It doesn't matter how many. Right. Even if it was just one deep connection with their wife, for example, those were the happiest men. So relationships are extremely underrated. Notice we haven't even gotten to exercise and nutrition yet. All of those things, in my personal and professional opinion, are more important than exercise and nutrition.
I agree 100%.
So next up, we do have nutrition. So it is important. So next up comes nutrition and personalized nutrition. No one size fits all diet or meal plan. I think that's all BS. Then we've got exercise, and then last but not least, biohacking and lifestyle optimization. The sexy things, the things like red light panels and EMF mitigation, the expensive hacks that people think are sexy, and they want to buy those when they haven't
Right.
optimized their mindset, right?
Do you
So
do you
those are
put
the eight wheels.
do you
What's
put
up?
the cold plunge into the biohack?
No,
Okay.
no. I cold exposure I talk about all the time. Like that
Yeah.
is the first thing that I recommend anybody is that, like, start with cold showers and watching the sunrise. Like
Yeah.
those are two very simple and very effective ways to completely transform your life. Like the Captain's Code, which is the 12 articles by
Mhm.
which I lead my life for optimal health, happiness, productivity. It's the basics. The first C stands for cold exposure.
Yeah.
My morning ritual, called the Cages morning ritual. The first C is cold exposure. So cold exposure is a non-negotiable
Right.
in the Captain's lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I just kind of started following you, but I see that you do it all the time, and I've heard it. Obviously, with Joe Rogan talks about it a lot too as well, and like now I feel like it's everywhere. People talking about take cold showers. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of benefits to it. So it's just
More than people know.
yeah. So it's I was actually talking to my stepson as well, because we were talking about it, that we should start doing that.
So, are you open to playing a language game?
Sure.
So you said we should start that.
Yeah.
Should
Yeah.
should is an example of soft talk.
Yeah.
Definition of soft talk are words, like ambiguous words that take you off the hook for any ownership, right? Soft talk leads to soft results. So
Right.
words like should, would, try, maybe,
Yeah.
someday,
I'd like
right?
to. I want to. It's
Exactly.
yeah.
So we could switch I should start taking cold showers to I could start taking cold showers. That's a step up.
Right.
It's not the best, but going from should to could, that's one step. Now you're realizing that, hey, I can take cold showers, right? And then if you feel comfortable taking it a step further, you go to I will
Yeah.
take cold showers.
Yep.
And then a step above that is to actually schedule it. Okay, tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., I'm going to take a cold shower.
Yeah. I'm big on scheduling and writing things out and scheduling everything. I mean, obviously you stay more consistent with it. You see it, your mind, you know, it's a lot easier just to follow and stay consistent. And yeah, I know you were talking before too about your why, and I because I get that a lot too, where people always ask about motivation. I'm like, it has nothing to do with motivation, really. You once you establish your why, that thing's gonna fucking carry you through, anything, man. And back when I was at my worst, and like 300 pounds, depressed, severe anxiety, alcoholic, and which down the road I was able to alcohol, was able to get sober later on. But when, like, for that first initial, like, getting over everything, you know my why was just simply like, I just wanted to stop hating myself. And that was my why. That got to the point where I'm like, man, I'm sick of fucking hating myself. I'm sick of looking in the mirror and being like, what the fuck are you, like, what, let's, like, I always saw the person that I wanted to be, but it wasn't that vision yet. You know what I mean? It was, I still had that mentality, like, well, I could be that, but something's, I always had that mentality, the victim mentality, the why me. So it wasn't until I finally, like, established that powerful why, man, that fucking thing got me up every day, no matter what. And that's when, like, I started moving forward. You get a little progress, you start gaining confidence, and everything kind of starts coming together. And yeah, so I think establishing a powerful why is probably one of the most important things.
Take out the probably.
Yeah.
Another soft talk word.
Yeah.
It is one of the most
I
important
will
things.
stop with the soft talk.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. So I've determined three most important factors for actually sticking to habit change or actually achieving your goals. Number one is first deciding to change. This is something a lot of guys overlook. They're constantly on the fence. Like, and this is where soft talk plays a huge role. Like, maybe I'll try this, or I should start eating better. I want to spend more time with my kids. Like, always on the fence, never actually committing, never saying, I will do this, and actually making the decision to change. Because decide, the etymology of the word decide, comes from Latin, which the literal translation is to cut off. So when you decide, you are literally cutting off your old habits, your old routines, the old version of yourself, right? To commit to something else. So first off is you have to actually decide that you are ready to change. Step two is what we just talked about, is defining your why. One of my favorite quotes, I'm sure you're familiar with it, from Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning. I'm going to paraphrase it. I don't remember it exactly, but it's something along the lines of, a man who has a strong enough why can bear with almost any how. That goes exactly to what you were saying. Like when times get challenging, which they will, when you are changing your lifestyle or adopting a new habit, it is unreasonable to expect it to be easy. That would be unreasonable if it was easy. Of course, it's going to be challenging. So when those challenging times come, your why is what gives you strength to keep going. And then number three, this is another one a lot of guys neglect. I've talking to guys in my DMs today, actually, who said that they've set New Year's goals. And I said, perfect. That's great. Who's holding you accountable to those? I'm going to do it myself. From my personal and professional opinion, after having done that myself and after having coached many men who have tried to do it on their own, the whole lone wolf mentality or self-made man, like that's all bullshit. Men, like no man is an island. You need other goal-oriented men who are going to hold you accountable. Because God knows fucking Billy Bob at your 9 to 5 job, who's also fat and hates his life, is not going to hold you accountable to shit.
No, he's going to try to have you come out and get drinks and shit like that,
Exactly. I'm sure you experienced this. When you quit drinking, I experienced the same thing. When I quit drinking, I would still go out to the bars. I would still go to parties and have fun. And my friends, even though I told them, hey, I'm not drinking, they would still try to get me to drink. Oh, come on. It's the Marine Corps birthday, dude. You're really telling me you're not going to drink for the Marine Corps birthday? Yes, that is what I'm telling you. I'm not drinking, right? So if you don't surround yourself with like-minded men who will inspire you to become this better version of yourself, I think even the most mentally tough person would fall back into their old habits.
Right.
You surround yourself with a bunch of meth addicts and you're in that lifestyle. Even if you don't completely fall off the wagon, you're not going to be inspired to change, right? You're going to look around you and be like, well, everybody else is doing it. So I'm just going to lay on the couch and do nothing, right? I don't want to go to the gym. So surround yourself with winners. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You hit it right on the head. You are who you surround yourself with. You want to, and there's an old, a saying that they always say, in AA, that if you hang around the barbershop long enough, eventually you're going to get a haircut. So it's just like, you just got to really surround yourself with people that, I always try to surround myself with people who not only like me, but maybe even a little step above me. Because I think we all have that, that competitiveness as men. You see that and you're like, man, fuck that. He's doing that. I gotta do that, man. I gotta, it's just so important to surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with."
Yeah,
I like to offer a counter to that. I believe that you are not the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I believe that the 5 people with whom you spend the most time are a reflection of you, right?
Yeah.
So it goes both ways, right? So for me personally, now, if you complain, if you constantly use soft talk, if you are in the victim mentality, if you drain from my energy in any way, if you're not productive, if you're not goal-oriented, I want nothing to do with you. You are not getting any of my time. Right. I surround myself with people who are winners, who are goal-oriented, who love themselves, who stick to high performance habits. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to associate myself with anything less than that. Right. So you are The 5 people around you, they're a direct reflection of you. So if you look around you and your friends are broke, fat, and lazy, one, it's time to get new friends. And how you do that is you first improve yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. Have you ever like come across where I know you have clients or whatever you want, like teams, and have you ever come across anyone where you're like, listen, man, I just can't work with you anymore. You're just not, you're not there yet, or like you said, like you just don't have the goals. You don't have like, have you ever had to like turn someone down or like kick anyone out of the crew?
Uh, I turn people down all the time.
Yeah.
Once we start working together, I will not give up on you.
Okay.
I've never had that. I've had people give up on themselves
Right.
where they decide, hey, I can't hack it, or this is too hard, or whatever the fuck their bullshit excuse is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are those types of boys. I won't even call them men.
Yeah.
Uh, usually that doesn't happen very often because I do a good job
Mhm.
of weeding that out in our conversations beforehand, whether that's in the DMs or
Mhm.
on a call. Like, it becomes very clear that I am no nonsense. Like, I'm going to give it to you straight. And if you can't handle that, you can't live the captain's lifestyle.
Right.
Like, straight up, this is not, there's no bullshit here. Like, you're either committed to yourself or you're not. Like, I'm going to support you along the way. Right. Like, this isn't just me fucking yelling at you, calling you a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm very supportive, but you actually have to do the work.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's what it comes down to, man. And that's what people have to understand. We talked a little bit about before, the accountability part. You have to put the fucking work in. You have to. If you don't like something about yourself, change it. Do something. Shit is not going to come to you. And those people that, unfortunately, that are like that, especially in men, man, and they just basically settle for whatever. And I was close to that. I was close to settling for fucking misery. And that gets passed down to generations, man. That's a big problem. I think, especially now, I look at it. I think we need, men to kind of step up and be like, man, you gotta take accountability for yourself. If you want something, go fucking get it, and it's that simple.
Take out the think. Men
Yeah.
do have to start taking accountability
Yeah.
for themselves.
Yeah.
Weak men, weak boys, really, is the at the root of all of the problems that we're facing in society today. Chronic disease is as high as it's ever been. Depression is as high as it's
Yeah.
ever been. 60% of the population is like stressed out or anxious. They hate their jobs. They're in an unhappy relationship. They're settling
Yeah.
for average. They would rather experience the fear, or I'm sorry, they would rather experience the certainty of misery,
Right.
because most guys know they're not happy in their lives, right? We've established that. That's now average. So they would rather have the certainty of misery than face the uncertainty or face the fear. I'm completely butchering this quote. Then
Yeah.
face the misery of uncertainty,
Yeah.
right? Because it is uncomfortable and it is scary to completely change your lifestyle,
Yeah.
because you're basically cutting off your old version of yourself. The ego doesn't like that. The ego wants you to stay the same, right? So if you decide to change, that's scary, right? So this is what I help men do: is I help men first decide and then help guide them to whatever this version of themselves that they want to become is. That's the power of the MVP process. So most guys stay in that certainty of misery because the fear of uncertainty is too much.
Yeah.
Because because they're alone and they don't have anybody to hold them accountable and say, hey, come on, like, we're doing this together. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I think a lot of men feel they are alone. Because I know I
I
did.
felt alone for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I definitely felt that way. And once you have the camaraderie, you have someone else to fucking say, let's go. And then you're like, all right. And then you can make that pivot, and it's either you settle for the misery or you're going to make that pivot and fucking struggle, because it is a struggle to get better. It is a struggle to
Yeah.
change it, and fortunately for me, I was able to kind of make that pivot, pretty much on my own. But that's like where I am now, where I'm like, I want to help men make that fucking pivot and be like, yo, man, you're not alone. You're not weak. You're not whatever it is like you think you are. You're not. You can be whatever you want. Like, and I still remember, growing up, and unfortunately, my dad passed when I was only 13. But even before that, I always remember he used to say, you can do whatever you want. Whatever you set your mind to, you can do, and I lost it along the way, but it kind of came back. And I tell my 3-year-old now, like, yo, you're a Fontana, man. You can do whatever you want. I'm that whole I can't is, from an early age, I'm teaching them, no, we don't ever say that, and I
Yeah.
think
So
it's important for that.
yeah, I can't is negation
Mm,
language. So negations are a focus on what isn't, what wasn't, or what can't be. So can't, don't, won't, shouldn't, couldn't.
right,
So we switch those to affirmations, right? Which is what you're talking about. Like just
right, right.
eliminate can't from your vocabulary. Like we shouldn't even uh, like teach these words to kids. Like we should completely eliminate soft talk. Not completely eliminate, because there are ways to strategically use it, but
Okay.
our language needs to dramatically change for us to move forward as a society. Like, so here's something interesting. When you think of abracadabra, what comes to mind?
I think of like a magician.
Magic,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So abracadabra is ancient Aramaic, directly translated to with my words, I create, right? So magic is real. The definition of a spell is a word or combination of words believed to hold great influence or have great meaning. So when we speak, we are quite literally casting spells. Now, based on the language we use, whether that's victim mentality language using soft talk and negations, or architect language where we are conscious of our language, we can either cast good magic or dark magic. Most people are casting spells on themselves to keep them trapped in a cage that they created. The victim mentality language. I can't, I'll try, I should, all these things. So once we change our language, literally a whole new world of possibilities opens up. That's why I start with language.
Nice. Yeah, man. It's the power of the words, it's definitely, definitely powerful and the mindset. I mean, to me, I think mindset is important because if you don't have the mindset, I don't think anything else is going to really fall into place. And that's what, I mean, I don't focus on as many, pillars as you do. I just pretty much it's mindset, nutrition, fitness, and I mean there's other things really that it kind of encompass into like nutrition and fitness. Fitness isn't just working out. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. But yeah, I think mindset is huge, and it's the first thing I tackle with people.
Nice. Yeah. There's obviously different types of programs and
Yeah,
different types of coaches. I decided I no longer wanted to be a specialist because I was focusing on fitness for so long. And I was like, okay, these guys are getting fit and they're ripped, but they still hate their lives.
yeah,
So something's off. Right.
yeah,
And this was me too. Like I was
yeah,
fucking ripped and shredded and super fit and I wasn't fulfilled. So
yeah.
it's like, okay, well, it's clearly not just about diet and nutrition and mindset. Like there's other things out there that lead to a fulfilling life. So based on my own research and creating my optimal life, I was like, okay, these are the most important things. And I put it into, again, a lifestyle program,
Hmm.
right? That's what sets the captain's lifestyle apart from any other type of program out there, because I've been through many programs, right? And a lot of them are great. Like it's still important to learn about nutrition and exercise and all these things. Like that's still very important. But if you really want to lead a fulfilling life, I truly believe the most important things, like the base, like if you nail these 3 things down, you're set.
Hmm.
One is mindset. So that plays a role in everything that we've been talking about with language and things like that.
Right, right.
So we've got mindset and language. Number 2, breathing. I've got it fucking tattooed.
Yeah.
Breathing is so important. Understanding how to properly nasal breathe for upregulation and downregulation. You can literally control your stress response, how you react in stressful situations, making ice baths a whole hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
Simply by breathing. It's free. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like there's so many benefits to understanding how to breathe properly in workouts. Like proper nasal breathing is one of the best physical performance hacks I've ever experienced. It's mind blowing what I experienced going from mouth breathing through workouts to 95% of the time strictly nasal breathing.
Yeah.
And then when you need that extra gear, you can breathe through your mouth if you're like actually sprinting. So many benefits to nasal breathing. And then number 3 is light exposure, optimizing your light environment.
Yep.
Those are the 3 most important things: language, breath, and light. Most people don't understand the importance of light. Watching the sunrise in the morning, eliminating blue light exposure in the evening, because your circadian rhythm, like if you're going to focus on one thing for health, aside from mindset, like changing your beliefs, we can talk about like quantum physics, and you can literally change your body with your thoughts. Like, yes, that's a whole nother conversation.
Mm-hmm.
For health, circadian rhythm is bar none the most important thing. And the number 1 factor in that is light exposure.
Well, I'm kind of interested in the whole the breath work you told. Like, what is there different types of different types of breathing to do during workouts, or and also another
So
question
much.
was do you? I've heard people tape their mouth shut when they sleep, so they only breathe through the nose. Have you experimented with that?
I personally don't do that because I'm a nasal breather.
Okay.
If like I would tape my mouth if I was congested, for example, which almost never happens because I'm healthy. I don't get sick.
Yeah.
The people who want to tape their mouth shut are if you wake up with a dry mouth. Like that's a very clear indicator that you're mouth breathing. If you snore, another obvious indicator that you're mouth breathing. Definitely, or even if you just wake up and you're still tired, which is the majority of the population.
Right.
You might not necessarily be mouth breathing, but like for that, light exposure is number 1 for that. But definitely if you wake up with a dry mouth, definitely if you snore, tape your mouth. You can also elevate your bed about 10 degrees so that your torso is elevated a little bit. I use a wedge pillow sometimes, because that elevates. And so instead of just laying on your back, and even if you use a pillow, like we can talk about proper pillows, I like to sleep with just a neck pillow, like one of the ones that you travel with.
Right.
Because that perfectly aligns me. A lot of people sleep on a pillow and that like closes off their airway, right? So if you elevate your bed, sleep with a neck pillow, you can breathe properly.
Wow.
Right. So there's a whole bunch of hacks for sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I necessarily. I mean, yeah, I don't snore. Well, my wife tells me anyway. I don't snore. I don't really wake up with a dry mouth, so I think I'm pretty good sleeping. But I was just curious with the whole like working out and stuff like that. I mean, yeah. To be honest, I don't really even think how I'm breathing. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I didn't until I learned this stuff either.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the population is completely clueless when it comes to breathing. And it literally is like one of the most important things that you can do. So breath work for exercise, for example, it should always, well, not always, by the way, always is an example of binary, always and never, yes and no, black and white. Like almost nothing is binary like that. Like there's always gray area.
Yeah, of course.
So for me, 95% of the time is nasal breathing, unless I'm doing like an intense CrossFit workout and I'm like, it's a fucking sprint, you know?
Yeah.
Every other time is nasal breathing. And this took me about a year to really get comfortable with. So it does take a while, and it takes you being mindful of it, and you are going to have to slow down. but simply breathing through your nose, like just there.
Mhm.
Start there. Just close your mouth in a
Right.
workout.
Yeah.
A little hack I do with my dad when we're working out is if I notice him mouth breathing too much, I'll have him hold a sip of water in his mouth and just,
That's a good
okay,
idea. Yeah.
complete the workout and, keep the water in your mouth, right? That'll train you to breathe through your nose.
Yeah.
And then you can take it a step further by a lot of people, when they breathe either through the mouth or through the nose, their shoulders rise, right? So if you do that, if you breathe into the chest, that's stressing you out. So a good phrase to remember is low and slow. So low meaning into your belly. Now you're not actually breathing into your belly. You're breathing
Right.
into your
Yeah.
lower
No, I get
lungs.
it.
So yeah, breathe into your belly. So you can put a hand on your stomach. And as you breathe in, you should expand. Like that, the hand should go away.
Right.
Most
Right.
people don't want to do that because everybody's so tight and,
Yeah.
oh, I want to show my abs,
Yeah. Yeah.
tuck it in, suck it in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people are living their lives all
Oh,
sucked in
I
and
know. I know.
puckered assholes and
Yeah.
hunched shoulders, stressed out,
Yeah.
right? So relax, roll the shoulders back,
Yeah.
unpucker your asshole,
Yeah.
fucking breathe into your belly, low and slow.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
the slower the exhale, the more down regulatory it is. So this doesn't apply to workouts, but you could do like 4-7-8 breathing, which is a 4-count inhale, a 7-count hold, and an 8-count exhale. That's really good for calming yourself down.
Yeah,
Something,
I used to do similar, like with when I was dealing with my anxiety and anxiety attacks. It was something similar to that. I don't exactly remember how like what the seconds was, but it was something to that effect. And
mhm,
yeah, I could see
yeah,
that definitely worked. I mean, I kind of got away from it since I was able to kind of, get over everything. But yeah, I think
mhm,
definitely something I'd like to concentrate on, or I am going to
yeah.
concentrate on.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, anxiety is either your breath is trapped in your chest
Hmm.
and or you are thinking about what could potentially go wrong in the future.
Yeah, that
You're
was
not living in the now. You're
yeah.
not in the present moment, and your breath is more likely trapped in your chest.
Yeah.
That's anxiety, right?
Yeah, I was never living in it. I was always, the past, just being a fuck up, worrying about the past, and then what the fuck is the future gonna hold? There was never like, I
Yep.
mean, now totally different. Now I'm in, 24 hours a day. That's it. I wake up today, I go today. That I have that mentality now. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it makes sense.
Here's a breath work technique that you can use anytime, anywhere. It's the quickest way to downregulate your nervous system. So while the 4-7-8 breathing is great, that
Hmm.
may be difficult for people to remember. And if you're in a super stressed out state, it could be difficult to hold your breath for 7 seconds and 8 seconds. So this is called the physiological sigh. It's a double inhale through the nose and then a prolonged exhale, either out of the mouth or out of the nose, doesn't matter. Bonus points if you hum on the exhale, because that activates the vagus nerve, which is also down regulatory. So you'll notice that animals will do this naturally. Like after a dog goes to attack the mailman, for example, they'll go lay down and and then it's over.
Yeah.
Then they're not fucking anxious or stressed out. Is the mailman going to come tomorrow?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm gonna,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
over, right?
yeah,
So humans can do this too. So it's a double inhale through the nose. This is the quickest way to downregulate your nervous system and get in a more rest and digest state.
And it
Of
was
course,
it
if you do that,
exhale through the mouth or through the nose again?
either way, doesn't
Okay.
really matter for this. Uh, I like to hum on the exhale sometimes, like mentioned. So that would be like,
Mm.
do 2 or 3 of those. And I actually start every single one of my modules of my program with that breathwork technique to get people, because I work primarily with busy businessmen and entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
especially when they're just starting, like, oh, I got to carve out the time to do this program. And they're probably coming to it stressed out. Right. So it's like, hey, calm down. Let's do the physiological
Yeah.
side together, because your brain cannot be in a state of creation or learning if you are stressed out or upregulated,
Right.
because evolutionarily that meant that you are either on a hunt or like running for your life. right? So your brain isn't focused on learning something new or creating a new idea or developing a new product if you were in this upregulated state, right? It just makes sense.
Yeah.
So first thing we need to do is down-regulate the nervous system. Then it's like the entrepreneurs who think that just by working more, they can get more done.
Right.
That's such a false paradigm. Like, take a break, breathe, go put your feet on the earth, relax, come back, watch how much more productive you'll be.
Yeah, I agree. I do. Yeah, I think like balls to the wall all the time is definitely not how it's supposed to be. And I think a lot
Burnout.
of people, like when you look on social media, they like almost like promoting that, or like I think they give false, false facts about that. And I agree with you, man. It's not really like that at all.
Yeah, even Gary Vee, who for a long time, and even still a little bit, was the poster child
Yeah,
for the hustle and grind mentality,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And he's come out in so many interviews saying that that actually hurt him. Like, and he had to come out with like not an apology, but an explanation of
yeah,
how that's not like how people were perceiving it is not the case. I've now interviewed him twice, and that man does not have anxiety. That man is not stressed out. He sleeps like a fucking rock.
yeah,
Like, because when he stops working, he's not working.
yeah. He stops. That's it.
So many of us have, as entrepreneurs, like it's easy to get caught in this trap. Everything is gray area, right? When we're with our kids, we hear that text or email notification that can pull us away. So we're always like switching from one thing to the other, right? It's never just focus on one thing. And so what Gary does tremendously is he's fucking, yeah, working
Yeah,
for 16 hours a day. But when he's not,
right.
like he's with his family and he's not stressing about, oh, I got to do this tomorrow. Or what if this fails? Like he is so at ease, at peace with himself.
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't have that, then nothing else is really going to be. And I've learned that having two young kids and actually a stepson who's 23, it's a big gap. But yeah, I think I finally had to tell myself like on weekends, man, that's it, that's for them. And Monday through Friday, grind and hustle and all that. But when the weekends comes, that's it. And like, and I'm not thinking like, oh shit, what do I have to do Monday? I mean, as Sunday kind of winds down, yeah, you got to, kind of plan out the week and all that. But, yeah. And I just kind of started doing that, man. And then I can see a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So
Keep this in mind the next time you have a super stressful day. This is one of the things that I do. I heard Gary say this on a recent interview. He said, even on his worst days, like when something actually does get to him, he thinks to himself, okay, I've now, of course, I'm blanking on the exact thing that he said, but it was related to his family. Like, are his mom and dad still alive? Like, is his wife still there? Does he still have his kids? If those are all there, then it's like, what am I stressed out about? Like the most important things in my life still exist. I still have amazing relationships with the people I love. Going back to the Harvard happiness study, right? Like we are always putting our focus and attention on these things that we don't yet have or on everything that's going wrong. We really need to start, myself included, focusing more and being grateful for the things that we already do have and prioritizing our relationships and ourselves, right? Instead of, being anxious and stressed out about what could potentially go wrong in the future, right? Let's live in the now and appreciate what we have.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes along with the mindset and perception, the perception of what things are happening. And, I mean, I come, obviously from being an alcoholic and being sober now and having like two amazing young boys, man. That's exactly like my mentality, where even like the most stressful, shittiest fucking thing you drive, here on Long Island too, man, you drive it, you can let it get to you, and I think like, man, I don't give a shit because you know what? I'm sober. I remember today, and I got a fucking awesome family to go home to. So, anything else is I can handle, man. That my heart like jumped up a lot after overcoming everything, and that's how you have to look at your obstacles too, man. Look at it as opportunities to get stronger, to get better, and my level of hardness or what to deal with fucking jumped up, so much. So. Yeah, it definitely makes sense, what he was talking about.
Mhm.
So, do you want to talk about a little
Shit,
bit?
bros. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. Well, we can fix that with the editing. Um, yeah, so that's kind of we like, wrap it up a little bit. Did you want to talk about, I know, was it like a 4-week course that you have for men, or is it
No,
anything
for a
else?
month.
Oh, 4 month. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just over 3 months of structured curriculum.
Mhm.
And then once they graduate the actual program, then they're allowed to attend the immersion, which is my 5-day long rite of passage and graduation to become the captain of your own life. It's the final test, right? It's like, okay, you've gone through the course, you've got all the most important information. Now come test your ability at the immersion, which is actually here at this house that I'm at now in Minnesota.
Okay.
So again, it's 5 days. I fly in a whole bunch of guest speakers to talk about language specifically because it is so transformational for
Yeah.
people, the language aspect of it and creating this new identity for yourself. And we do ice baths and saunas and workouts, and like we eat the best quality food and like all the things. And then on the last day is a celebration of you, like you've made it. Because one of the things I mentioned, weak men being the cause of all the problems we're facing in society today, ultimately that boils down to men no longer have to go through a rite of passage. Like now everybody's just, oh, you're accepted however you are. Like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Men, that's not how men are not born. Men are made.
Yeah.
Like you may be born a biological male, but that does not make you a man. You become a man through overcoming challenges and obstacles and working towards something of purpose, creating an impact in the world, right? So because there's no rite of passage in American society today, like there really isn't. What, like when you're fucking 16 and you get your driver's license, or you graduate high school, you graduate college, like those are all fucking jokes,
Yeah.
right? So going through real challenges, like we do an ice bath every single day at the immersion, and then we do a challenge where you go underneath the ice bath and breathe through a bamboo straw, and so you're completely submerged in the ice bath. We of course do challenging workouts and things like that, and the most challenging part for a lot of people is not the ice baths, is not the intense workouts, is not the 24-hour fast that we do, but it's the emotional work, the story work that we do. Again, going back to language, because a lot of us want to shy away from all the things that happened in the past, the stories that we're telling ourselves of why we can't do this, of why we're not worthy, of why we don't love ourselves, of how we have to live up to our father's expectations, right? We always shy away from those things, but we dive deep
Yeah.
into hurt and past trauma in the course, in the program, and at the immersion. And once people go through that, like you become literally a new man.
Hell yeah. Confidence is up and you're ready for fucking anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do people reach you, or if they want to be a part of it and all that?
I only run 2 programs a year.
Okay.
So depending on when this podcast comes out, I doubt they're going to have a chance to get into this one. Our next program starts on the 23rd. So if this podcast comes out before that, you can head to thecaptainslifestyle.com/waitlist. That should be live for, like, that'll just be live, I imagine, unless I change something.
Yeah.
If you come in after January 23rd, you can head to thecaptainslifestyle.com/crew and join the crew, which is my private men's community.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a fucking $1. You get access to our private Telegram chat. You get access to weekly coaching calls, monthly masterminds, monthly giveaways, my favorite supplements and biohacks, and first access to future programs. So
nice.
Yeah, the crew is where it's at. It's I could go on and on about it, about how guys specifically feeling lonely, like especially during the holidays that just passed, guys who felt lonely, who felt like they had nobody, then joined the crew. Instant brotherhood and friendships, like completely life-changing, you know? So yeah,
man, I love that. That's awesome. And you know, I definitely thank you for coming on, and as appreciation, I'm going to send you a Go Primal t-shirt, because it definitely, I think you know, the Go Primal lifestyle is pretty similar to the Captain's lifestyle, definitely with the mentality and the primal mindset, and the Captain's code. And I like that. I love, I first of all, I fucking love that. It's I mean, true, and you know, with everything you said, and just it's pretty badass too. I like it. So yeah, man, you know, just let me know where to send it. Off air, you can just let me know where to send it, and you know what shirt that you would want. But yeah, man, thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Chris. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.